Welcome back to the channel. So today with me I have a 2021 Acura RDX A-Spec. Now this car is Acura's entry-level SUV, so unfortunately it doesn't go any higher than the A-Spec. There's no Type S for this car, and this one has a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 with VTEC as per Honda, producing 272 horsepower with 280 pound-feet of torque thanks to that turbocharger. Now with the A-Spec package you get all of these black accents. So you have on the regular RDX, this would be chrome, this would be chrome, but all this is black. And we have these running boards. This is an optional extra for $800, by the way. So yeah, whoever optioned this really needed them. Now this one is in Apex Blue Pearl, so wonderful blue. That's Acura's official name for this color. And it, as being Acura's entry-level SUV, it's just the right size, a little small but not too big as to not compete with their head honcho 7-seater, the MDX. Now this car does have Acura's super handling all-wheel drive, which is a smart little all-wheel drive system as opposed to like Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, which is just a fancy term for 50-50. This is actually torque vectoring. So say if you're taking corners, it will actually move where power is being delivered to make sure that the car is always in control and planted on the road. Now on the exterior here, I think it's unlocked. Since Acura is a North American market vehicle, so gas here is capless. No need for a cap because this car isn't sold anywhere else than North America, and they have very different regulations when it comes to fuel and stuff like that when it comes to cars. Now we move to the interior. We do have wonderful red seats, red guts per se. Unlike the TLX, it does not get extended to the door cars. It kind of just stays limited to the seats, but that's okay. But you do get this wonderful red stitching on the doors and throughout the cabin. You do have A-Spec door sills right here. They step in. It's very warm, but we do have Acura's signature centered infotainment. So we have our trackpad here, which is kind of reminiscent of what Lexus used to do as a platform. So we do have storage back down here, and we have our cigarette lighter outlet here, aux, and over here we do have a USB port for charging. We have lane departure, parking sensors, traction control, collision detection, and our brake hold for hills and such. This is an auto dimming mirror with home link. We have we have a panoramic sunroof. The shade is open because I wanted to be nice and comfy. I had a different vibe on the way here. On the steering wheel, forgive me, this piece of the steering wheel is missing. I forget which button this is, but we have lane departure and adaptive cruise control, follow distance here, so it's gonna be something along these lines. I'll probably search for it and put it on as text, maybe somewhere down here. But we do have our cruise control sets, have paddle shifters. This car, it does have a 10-speed auto, so there's a whole lot of gears to roll through. I'm just gonna close the door here and turn the car on. We get a nice little animation. Now we do have a few lights on here. Now that's not really a defect with the vehicle, it's because of, we have a nice animation infotainment screen here. It's kind of like a heartbeat, a little pulsating vibe that it films away, dims away, and then it goes straight to infotainment system. Now we do have our collision detection and lane departure and braking lights on because of one small thing. Now the system that this car uses, it uses cameras up here and a little radar up the front here. Now this plastic is the kind of the same plastic that headlight housings use. So this is not, as you can see here, it's not very clean. So all this really needs is a clean up, and then the car can see again, and those should go away. So not really a defect with the car, but it's just something that has to be cleared up. Back into the RDX. As I was saying before, we do have this kind of unorthodox infotainment system. We use a trackpad to navigate, so it's kind of like a mouse. So we have, this is Bluetooth audio right now, and we have a second screen to the right that shows your music, your time, swipe, navigation. We are in Jamaica, so Acura doesn't really have any navigation for Jamaica unless you're in the US or Canada. So that's just a blank screen. And you have our date and time. And if you use this side of the pad, we do have all our infotainment settings. So FM, Sirius XM, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth audio, phone. Swipe again, it has all our settings, Acura Link, and anything that you might need, messages, USB audio. And if you're in the US, you have AT&T hotspot if you option the car with it. I must put that in, and aux input. For 2021, it's kind of surprising this car does have an aux port, because that's kind of something that's been phased out in cars nowadays. But this car, this speedometer does go to 160, and in kilometers 260, but the speed is electronically governed to 113. So don't expect to go past that unless you tune it. Now we have everything we need in the middle of our gauge cluster. So this is what I like when it comes to gauge cluster. I'm keeping it modern. So we do have our analog gauge on the left and right, but we do have a screen in the middle for anything you may need to look at. So you have a trip computer. We have our navigation, shows you which direction we're facing. We're facing south right now. We have our maintenance, our oil life, TPMS, so live tire pressure, which is great. Super handling, all-wheel drive, and our speed and distance units because it's partially digital. Now, this infotainment system is kind of cool, and the way it interacts with the center screen. So if I were to use this button and go right, it changes the song, and it shows the song you change to in the gauge cluster. And if I were to change the volume to up, keep it at low because copyright again. Now Acura does have their own voice command along with whatever you're using to plug in to the car, whether it be CarPlay or Android Auto. So if you say hey Google or hey Siri, it will work. But Acura does have their own voice command. I don't have any phone connected to the car right now, so I'm not sure if it would work, but maybe, yeah, it needs a phone connected to it, unfortunately. And you have apps, and you can scroll through whatever you're using. So if you want to switch between radio stations or what you're using for audio or whatever it may be, you don't have to go over here and navigate through the infotainment system. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Stop. I don't know. Okay.
No route set.
Okay, thank you. I guess it works. Whatever it may be, you don't need to go through this screen and use a touchpad. And so everything that you need is right here in front of you, so your hands can remain on the steering wheel and eyes on the road. Now we do have our dynamic mode selector here. We have snow, which last time I checked, don't need that here unless you're in Florida and you're riding around with Tony Montana, where there may be enough snow to drive through. But we have comfort, which is a nice calming, you know, it feels airy and whatever. We have sport, which is a little quick. I have sport plus, where the car is just free to just do whatever it feels like, and give you a turbo boost gauge and a G meter for acceleration. We have dual zone climate control. We have heated and ventilated seats. We're not using heat because, once again, we're in Jamaica. Doesn't get very cold to ever actually need your heated seats, but we do have ventilated because it's very warm. And of course, you can open our panoramic roof Yeah, our little wind deflector goes up. Yeah, we're gonna close that now because we don't really need it right now. We're not really going anywhere just yet. Yeah. Now to the back seat. As this is a nice small family SUV, there is space back here. I have more than enough leg room. We do have charge ports here, not type C, USB A though. And we have an armrest with cup holders, so it's nice and comfy back here. Very nice place to be. Now I forgot to mention our ELS Studio sound system. 3D, so it pipes sound all around the car. We have speakers up here. We have a little dome lights for the back seat because there's no space for lights here where they usually would be. And funny fact, that ELS Studio sound system pipes artificial sound into the cabin when you're driving. So more on that later. You'll get to see that when I actually get on the road. Now it is getting very warm out here, and frankly it's hard slaving away in the sun. So oh, one more thing, we're getting on the road, but this car has a cool little feature where if you take the key out, and I think the car has to be off for this, hold on, just start it down, close the doors. We're going to lock her, unlock, and if you hold the unlock button, all the windows go down and the sunroof opens. I think if we do it again, sunroof goes all the way open. It's a cool little feature, but the downside of that feature, it only goes down. It does not go back up from the key. So you kind of have to be intent on getting in and driving away, because because if you open it, you're gonna have to close it again manually, unfortunately. So let's get in and drive. Now we're going to close. We have a nice little animation gauge cluster that shows our Acura logo, and we can start the car up. ELS Studio Premium Audio. We're going to use our all 4 auto windows to automatically bring them up with one click, and we're going to close this right now. You know, I could leave this open. You know, I'm going to leave it open. I'm feeling good today. We're going to plug in our phone right now so we can use our Apple CarPlay and showcase it. I think my phone has to be unlocked though. There we go. Yes. Okay. And use our little touchpad. Now the touchpad is a little something to get used to. I mean, if you want to practice whatever you do, maybe when you get out the car, or if you're into that inside the car, I guess it's something you can do, but whatever. We're going to go ahead and get a move on. So drive, we're gonna turn all these off, pull our handbrake off, and we are on our way. So now we're on the road in the RDX, and I really enjoy this car. It's so nice. I mean, I kind of prefer the TLX over it, but you know, I'm not always on my Outback, but this car is not too bad. It's kind of crazy comparing the two, the RDX and the TLX. My mom and dad are kind of twinning, which is kind of cool. I mean, maybe my future wife and I one day could probably do that. You know, maybe a M3 and a X5M, or you know, M3 and X7. You know, if you have more than 2 children, I don't know. You know, it's all, you know, something light. You know, maybe a IS5, maybe Lexus. You know, maybe an IS500 and a GX. You know, who knows? Maybe, yeah, I don't even know who that is yet, but you know, it'd be nice. You know, that's kind of goals. You know, my parents are pretty cool. You know, dad has a TLX. My mom has the RDX. You know, kind of twinning both in Apex Blue Pearl, which is pretty cool. You know, both Apex Blue Pearl on red. Yeah, that's goals for sure. All right, now we finally get to go to our driving road. This car is so lively, and SH All-Wheel Drive really puts in work to keep this car stable. You do feel a little bit of roll because this is an SUV after all and not a sports car, and my bag in the backseat is definitely feeling it, so you can feel it, so you can hear it sliding all over the place. Good job. I think we have enough footage, and I think this might be enough to close off this review. I'm not gonna overtake here because this is basically a blind corner. I'm not gonna do that. No, go back to automatic. This car is amazing. The 2021 Acura RDX A-Spec. Wonderful car, comfortable, sporty, all of the above. It's a great all-arounder. And I think this is where we're gonna close for today. So love and appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.